Yeah, that's the same. Cool. Yeah, all right, for sure. Yeah.
Just reporting that I was struck above the neck. In fact, have the neck injury to prove it. So I was above the neck and have a neck injury to prove that.
Cool. Yes, sir.
Sir, when did this incident happen with
Okay, so like-
the encounter with the police
This
officer
had happened October
of 2021?
2021, October 4th.
So this
Yeah, I had requested a copy.
this report is examination barely from March
A month ago, and they said it'd be about
of this
2 weeks.
year.
It's tough for me to get medical attention, but that was the soonest that I could get it. I did have other visits to the doctor, but those are the ones where I felt safe at that point to make that accusation.
So you're for certain this is because of that?
Yeah, my employer was stung. I used to work at Optum Healthcare, which is Calabra was a staffing agency, and my employer was stung, so I felt very fearful at that time to make the report. I felt that they were trying to make me look mentally unstable, and they were falsely accusing me of numerous things. Everardo Velasquez is a big part of that. That's why I wanted to bring in the bank fraud that he committed. Now that I'm out of Optum, and I've calmed down a little bit, and I have a lot of anxiety and stress and mental health things going on, I feel comfortable enough and stable enough to be able to make that report. I don't think that they're gonna.
So you want to do a report and not or a complaint?
I want to do
Complaint or a report against officers?
I want to do a report.
All right, give us a second, okay?
Yeah, I just felt that they were looking out for the best interest, and it wasn't the best time to do it.
Okay.
I wanted to have evidence with the neck injury first.
Yeah, and I know we had.
I'll go get my
They did
paperwork.
find something on it. And they were gonna type it up or do whatever to it, get it ready.
This is a Starbucks,
and
2595
then they were
West
gonna mail
Lincoln,
it to me.
October 4th. I called October 6th to make a complaint, so I made a complaint about the October
Yes, it was
4th
something like that. I think it was
attack
a
that had
small
happened.
piece of paper with,
I made sure I
like,
called
name on my
it. I was very emphatic when I called. I called the County of Orange. I called
Yes.
FBI. I called the city police numerous times. They can't say that I didn't call, because I definitely did call 2 days after. Now they're gonna nitpick and say it wasn't October 4th, or it was October 5th. But the reality is, I called October 6th and gave the exact date, and that was 949-619-0620, I believe. So they could filter my phone numbers, and they could catch all the recorded call logs, and they'll know that that complaint was stated at that point. At that moment, they should have taken action without a police report. Without a police report, they should have immediately, after hearing that I was struck above the neck, they should have taken initiative. But they didn't. They didn't do it. So now I have to come here, fearful of the police arresting me because I'm turning them in. Who's watching the police now? I am. I have the neck injury. Read them and weep. Undeniable. I didn't want to. They're gonna say I'm schizophrenic, or they're gonna say, oh, he's unstable. But if I have the neck injury, it is undeniable. If I have the Wells Fargo documents, the Wells Fargo fraud documents by Everardo Velasquez, Sandra Velasquez, the ones that are putting charges on me, actually committed bank fraud. So they're trying to neutralize me. All this because I'm a victim of their bank fraud for years. And now I get struck above the neck by a cop, a cocky, racist, self-justifying detectives, and these are high-ranking sergeants that it happened in front of a sergeant. He didn't even report it. They didn't report a physical altercation. They want to nitpick and say that I committed verbal battery before I was struck. That's motive. If he says I'm committing verbal battery, that's motive. Matter of fact, give me his chest camera, and you're going to see me getting struck. Give me the audio. We're talking about me getting struck. But if they're going around the entire world and they're playing partial snippets, these little seconds and minutes, and manipulated these little audio tapes to make me look racist, to make me look like I'm the aggressor, when in reality you pay the full video, it's read 'em and weep. Somebody sued for $44 million. There are multiple lawsuits all over. Anaheim PD is known for this. I have no run-ins with the law where I'm violent. They're always violent with the public, and it's always Latinos. I made it very clear on the audio tapes, if they have the audio tapes on them. I cannot afford an attorney. I'm a minority of color. I'm dependent upon my squeaky clean record of work inside of banking and healthcare. And they high-fived each other. You'll hear the audio. If you see that Starbucks video immediately, if they had got that video, you'd see them high-fiving the moment I said I can't afford an attorney. But I'm confident because of the amount of pain I had that I was going to have an injury. And sure enough, we have a neck injury. And as you guys can imagine, when they're stinging you, a minority of color trying to feed himself, and I'm dominating the workforce, They try to sting me, try to make sure that I'm financially, try to run me out of this country. Very racist. My grandfather's a World War II veteran. My dad fought in the Cold War, and I was a pandemic banker. And in Kaiser Permanente, I would consider that civil service. And I'm not getting that respect. And finally, these civil servants are finally giving this report. I was kicked out the first time I tried to report, and now this time, this team that we have here, I'm not going to take anything away from them. They've been very polite. They've greeted me. They haven't taken anybody out to push me out of here or kick me out. But the other detective did kick me out this time. So this time they're doing a really phenomenal job. I just want to say that. The place does look very clean and neat. This is what taxpayer money is for. But the reality is they did screw up, and they have a budget for those lawsuits. And I think that it makes them very cocky, and they start to cover up their mistakes. They get PR departments involved. And the DA better not exonerate that bank fraud. It better not happen. And I better not I want a squeaky clean record. I want all the records from all civil complaints to be wiped clean. They can't touch me. I am untouchable at this point. Having said that, I want my reputation back, and I want a squeaky clean record. I don't want any prior complaints of anything. I want to wipe off the map. And I want Eduardo Velasquez in prison. And this is what happens. You may have humiliated me, in your opinion. Having said that, I'm going to get the lawsuit. So I'd rather be humiliated and get the money, to be honest. Having said that, that's not the way things are supposed to go. And these people need to be fired, need to be removed from the force. It's conflict of interest. If any of these cadets cooperate with me, that means somebody's going to get kicked off the force. That means, guess what? When it's time for their promotion, guess who's going to get snubbed? So it's very dangerous to even be assisting me, because high-ranking members, sergeants, are not going to favoritize them when time comes for promotions or for that review. So that is a conflict of interest, and Internal Affairs failed. I gave a detailed report. I haven't heard back from Internal Affairs. So FBI needs to look at Internal Affairs and make sure that these cadets, these officers that are doing an upstanding, phenomenal job, that they continue this, because there's a weakness in that. This is a pillar, is the justice system is one of the pillars of a society, and I believe if it's corrupted, then you have no oversight, and these people really have nobody watching over them, so it's very dangerous. So that's why Internal Affairs failed, in my opinion, and these people, their job is very dangerous right now. They might get fired or maybe snubbed or promotions put in the back burner because of this. So I just want to make sure I give them as much ammo as possible, give Anaheim as much ammo as possible, and make sure that me and my descendants are taken care of, and nobody's going to be bullying us and trying to nitpick anyone in my family apart. And bringing up my dad's prior records. He's an ordained pastor. He lived a different lifestyle years ago. He's now a minister of God, helps people do rehabilitation homes, Victory Outreach. And for him to be abused the way he was, and for them to talk about his record and that Starbucks and humiliate every member of the family, trying to get me to talk about their record, that's illegal. They can't talk about anybody's prior records out in public. They can't talk about my financials out in public. That is officially against the law. Now, for them to condone that is obstruction. Anybody who knew about this that didn't get that videotape, they have looped footage. Retail keeps it for at least 30 days, sometimes 90 days, sometimes 8 months, sometimes a year. Having said that, after that October 6th call, which is 2 days after it happened, immediately somebody should have jumped, get that video. The more time that passed on, the more tactics and antics that they used to prolong this, because I came in here to do a report, I got kicked out physically, and I didn't fight with them, because that's what they want me to do. Having said that, for them not to have gotten that video is obstruction, and they're using their power, they're using what's within their budget, their payroll, to make sure that this report doesn't happen. I want to thank these officers here.